Chapter 3, Section 3 is about function notation. And normally, we would write the equation of a line, y equals mx plus b. Using function notation, you write it f of x equals mx plus b. They mean exactly the same thing, but this f of x takes the place of the y. So in these next questions, it says x equals -3 and x equals 0. And then you'll notice that rather than a y, we have this function notation here. So all we have to do is take that number and put it in for x. So the first one will be a -3 plus 4. Negative and a negative makes it a +3 plus 4 is 7. And the second one, -0, which is just 0, plus 4 is 4. So function notation, we just write f of x. It means exactly the same thing as our y equals. I'm going to simplify this one a little bit. 6 and -2 will be a 4 plus 3x. So we will have a 4 plus 3 times -3, which is a 4 plus -9, which is -5. And then when we put the 0 in there, 4 plus 3 times 0, 3 times 0 is 0, plus 4 is 4. Number 3, you're going to do 3 parenthesis -3 squared minus 5. And I'm going to write the other one here, 0 squared minus 5. And you'll notice something there. You'll notice that I put parentheses around that number that I put in there. And there's a reason for that. If you do not put parentheses around there, your graphing calculator will give you the wrong answer. So anytime you use negatives, put negatives or fractions into a graphing calculator, always put parentheses around them or you might get the wrong number. So right here, -3 times -3 is 9. 3 times 9 is 27. Minus 5 is 22. 0 squared is 0. 3 times 0 is 0. Minus 5 is -5. And again, anytime you have a negative or a fraction in your graphing calculator, you have to put it in parentheses. At the top of the next page, we're graphing this function. So 1/2 x minus 4. 1/2 of -4 is -2 minus 2 is -4. I'm going to fill out this chart. 1/2 of -2 is -1. Minus 2 is -3. 1/2 of 0 is 0. Minus 2 is a -2. You might notice a pattern developing here. 1/2 of 2 is 1. Minus 2 is a -1. And this will be a 0. So this is our x, and this is the value of the function s at x. So -4, -4, -2, -3, 0, -2, 2, -1, and 4, 0. And our line looks like that. Sorry, I can't quite see it all. Next one, 1 minus 2x. So 1 minus 2 times negative 2. Again, always put those negatives and fractions in parentheses. Negative 2 and negative 2 is a positive 4. And 1 plus 4 is 5. 1 minus 2 times negative 1 is 1 plus 2, which is 3. 1 minus 2 times 0 is just 1. 1 minus 2 times 1 is negative 1. And again, you might notice a pattern. These are all going down by 2, so that will be a negative 3. So negative 2, 5, negative 1, 3, 0, 1, 1, negative 1, and 2, negative 3. And the line looks like that. Number 6, this is again an example using our function notation. M of x is our function, and that equals a negative 2x plus 5. So when we say m of 6, we're just going to put that number in for the x. So negative 2 times 6 is negative 12, plus 5 is negative 7. And over here, 3 times negative 4 squared minus 5. In case I haven't mentioned it yet, whenever you have negatives, you need to put them in parentheses. So this will be 3 times 16, which I believe is 48, minus 5 is 43. Now notice in these two equations, it says m of 6. So this went in place of the x. Over here, down here, the next two examples, this says b of x and r of x. This means that we've already done all of the work on the equation. We've done everything, and the final answer was negative 20. So this time, I want the negative 20 to go over here. Because see how the b of x is the same? So that goes in place of the b of x. And we're trying to figure out what the x is. So we have negative 20 equals negative 3x plus 1. Subtracting 1 from both sides, you have negative 21 equals negative 3x. And this is just like solving equations that you've been doing for a while now. And x ends up equaling 7. Number 9, r of x. And again, this says r of x equals 33. This means the value of the function at x is 33. So I'm going to take this and put it in place of that. That means we've already done all of the adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing with the function. And we're just trying to figure out what the x equals. So this becomes 33 equals 4x minus 3. From there, you add 3 to both sides, and that becomes 36 equals 4x. And when you divide both sides by 4, x equals 9. And this summary, this kind of shows us the two different things. See how this says f of x equals negative 3? That means the final value of the function is negative 3. So that's when we say negative 3 equals x plus 7. And when you have this, that's another way of saying x equals negative 3. So that's when you do the negative 3 plus 7. F of x, the final value of x equals negative 3. So here you would solve, and x would equal negative 10. Over here, this is another way of saying is x equals -3. So when we put it in here, -3 plus 7, the value of the function at -3 is 4. And one more example at the top of the next page. The function b of m equals 50m plus 150 represents the balance in dollars of your savings account after n months. This shows the balance in your friend's account, and we're trying to figure out who has the better plan. So I'm just going to put some numbers in here. 50m plus 150. For 1 month, actually I'm going to do these same numbers. For 2 months, 50 times 2 is 100, plus 150 is 250. If we put in 4, 50 times 4 is 200, plus 150 is 350. And if we put 6, 50 times 6 is 300, plus 150 is 450. And now you kind of see a pattern developing. So 8 will be 550, 10 will be 650. And if you look at this at 6 months, looks like your friend has a better plan. But let's figure out 8 and 10 months. So right here, your friend's is going up by $80 every 2 months. So if we add 80, this will be 570, and at 10 it would be 650. So that means at 10 months you have the same amount of money. So that means your friend saves more 0 to 9 months. It is the same, you have the same amount of money saved at 10 months. And after 11 months, you will have more money than your friend. And I probably should put a 12 right here, which would be 750, and 12 right here would be 730. And there you can see that you have more money than your friend. And sorry about that, there you can see my final answer.